it's gonna be lately.
One Tree Hill. How does one even begin to describe One Tree Hill? Well, first off, I think it's safe to say that Tree Hill High is basically runner-up for the most effed up school of all time, behind Degrassi, that is. I mean, from teenage pregnancies to love triangles to stalkers to secret half-brothers to break-ins to crazy nannies to kidnappings to school shootings to NBA drafts to world tours to psycho exes, are we even still talking about the same show? Anyway, aside from the obvious question as to why anyone would want to live somewhere that experiences so much heartache, but regardless, One Tree Hill lasted a whopping 9 seasons, and because we are simply lost without it, today we're going to take a look at where all of our favorite Ravens are now. So let us begin with the ever so attractive Scott brothers that started it all. Lucas first. I'm pretty sure that no one could resist that brooding pout. But what is good old CMM up to these days? FYI, that's Chad Michael Murray. Well, aside from growing a massive and very impressive beard, the heartthrob went on to write and release a novel in 2011 before going on to star in the Crackle original series Chosen. And right now, he is currently filming a TV series based on Marvel's Agent Carter. And now for good old Nathan Scott, who, FYI, in my personal opinion, probably made one of the biggest transformations on the show from complete asshole to everyone's dream husband. But since his days at Tree Hill, James Lafferty has continued to act, starring in the horror thriller Oculus in 2013, and most recently, he scored a role in the short-lived NBC drama Crisis. Currently, he's working on a period drama with a few of his friends where he has decided to transition to a role behind the scenes. Meanwhile, our girl Haley, aka Bethany Joy Lenz, hasn't really been doing a whole lot of acting since OTH ended. Although many of you may remember that short but epic 5-episode arc in season 8 of Dexter. Otherwise, aside from the occasional TV guest spot or One Tree Hill convention, come to LA by the way, well, Bethany has been working on developing her music career and is planning to release her first full-length studio album, which is titled Your Woman, as an independent release on her blog. Sophia Bush has been quite busy since her days as Brooke Davis. Yeah, she's my sister, in case you were wondering. The 32-year-old scored a starring role in the very short-lived comedy series Partners back in 2012, but after it was canceled, she jumped right from that into starring as the badass detective Lindsay on the hit NBC show Chicago PD, which we are absolutely obsessed with. In addition to acting, Sophia is heavily involved in numerous charities, most notably Pencils of Promise, an organization that builds schools in developing countries, as well as I'm That Girl, that encourages young girls to collaborate instead of compete. Amen to that. So I think it's safe to say that we know who's going to win the Humanitarian of the Year award in this group, right? Next up, we have Brooke's partner in crime, the one, the only Peyton Sawyer, aka Hillary Burton. After leaving the show, she began dating Jeffrey Dean Morgan, you know, Denny Duquette from Grey's Anatomy, love him, and totally surprised everyone when she gave birth to their son in March of 2010. But since One Tree Hill, she has continued acting. She had a starring role on the USA crime drama White Collar, where yes, she got paid to make out with Matt Bomer, and more recently had a 3-episode arc on Grey's Anatomy. And now for the rest. Good old Dan Scott has been guest starring in shows like CSI and Criminal Minds, and he even directed a film called Atlas Shrugged Part 1. But probably the most curious update is that according to social media, our dude Paul Johansson apparently has a son, and they may or may not be the cutest father-son duo that we've ever seen. True story. Meanwhile, Moira Kelly, aka Karen, has found work with some TV movies and the occasional guest spots on shows like Numbers and Drop Dead Diva. And then, of course, we could not forget about Deb Scott, aka Barbara Allen Woods, who had a brief guest spot on The Goldbergs, but otherwise spends most of her time with her 3 daughters. Oh, and of course, since I know you're wondering, yes, she is still close with her OTH grandbaby, little Jackson Brundage. Yes, who could forget about little Jamie Scott? That kid went through more hell in his first 5 years than most people do in their entire lives. Being kidnapped by Nanny Carrie. Anyway, after the show ended, he jumped right onto another series on Nickelodeon, See Dad Run, where he had a recurring role on the show for 2 years before it was unfortunately canceled. Now, speaking of Nanny Carrie, it was definitely Tori DeVito who takes the cake for being one of the show's most memorable villains. This bitch was absolutely crazy, and you know what? We loved every single minute of it. Since the show came to a close, Tori has been super busy, but most of you guys probably know now that she is Melissa Hastings on Pretty Little Liars. She also appeared on The Vampire Diaries for 12 episodes, as well as on the Lifetime hit show Army Wives. Oh, and you might remember that she was married to TVD star Paul Wesley, but unfortunately the couple got divorced last year. Next up, we have Mouth, aka Marvin McFadden, aka the one and only Lee Norris. That's his real name, by the way. He has made all of our dreams come true and reprised his role of Minkus in the Boy Meets World spinoff, Girl Meets World. And most recently made a brief cameo as a police officer in the Ben Affleck movie Gone Girl. Skills, well, he hasn't had a whole lot of luck since the show wrapped. Antoine Tanner was arrested in 2009 for fraud after attempting to sell off dozens of social security numbers. He pled guilty and in turn spent 3 months in jail. But it seems like things are on the up and up again, as Antoine has been participating in the One Tree Hill fan meetups as of late. Danielle Ackles, aka Rachel Gattina, went on to marry Supernatural star Jensen Ackles, and the two gave birth to a baby girl named Justice J in 2013. Meanwhile, the show's other resident bad girl, Jana Kramer, aka Alex Dupre, took a leave from acting to pursue her music career, and she is absolutely killing it in the country world right now. Next, we've got Chris Keller, aka the very talented Tyler Hilton. So after his days as a musically gifted asshole that totally screws up Neely's marriage, he went on to pursue his music career and he continued acting. And if you've ever had some weird hope that Peyton and Chris Keller got together, you are kind of in luck. They had a brief OTH reunion in the made-for-TV movie Christmas on the Bayou, and he currently stars in the Halle Berry series Extant. Oh, and he's engaged to Secret Life of the American Teenagers, Megan Park. Such a great couple. Now for Uncle Keith, aka Craig Sheffer. Where has he been? Well, poor Keith has not been up to a whole lot after his character got brutally killed off on the show, but he has had a guest starring role on a few episodes of CSI as well as Major Crimes. You may also remember that Ashley Rickards also had a brief character arc as Brooke's foster child, who then later went on to star in the MTV scripted dramedy Awkward. Oh, and she also happened to write a book that comes out in March of 2015 and is endorsed by Demi Lovato. So yeah, no big deal, a huge deal. Austin Nichols, aka Julian, dated Sophia Bush in real life for 6 years, but the two split in 2012. He is now dating Chloe Bennett for Marvel's Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., and in addition to the occasional short film, he has a recurring role on the Showtime hit series Ray Donovan. Coach Whitey, aka Barry Corbin, is still going strong, and while we miss his fatherly wisdom on the show, you can still catch him on Anger Management as well as in various guest spots on Modern Family and Parenthood. Stephen Colletti continues to advance his acting career while still making us miss his Laguna Beach days. Remember those? He has starred in several TV movies since his time as Chase on OTH, and most recently, the Laguna Beach alum was trending because he and his high school friends reunited for a friend's wedding and recreated that infamous prom photo. Robert Buckley, aka Clay Evans, remember Nathan's agent? He continues to be just super good looking, if I do say so myself, and he has definitely been keeping busy. He had a brief role on the short-lived series 666 Park Avenue and a guest spot on Heart of Dixie, and he continues to keep it all in the CW family as he is set to star in the upcoming series iZombie. Haley's sister and Clay's love interest, Quinn, aka Chantel Van Santen, has had guest spots on several projects over the last few years and is currently filming for the upcoming TV series The Messengers, which is set to premiere in 2015. And on another note, she's apparently still BFFs with co-star Robert Buckley and has said that they hang out at least 4 times a week. Wow. Well, as all diehard One Tree Hill fans know, we could probably go on for another 10 minutes if we included every past castmate, But that's all we have time for now. So you guys, who was your favorite character on the show? And do you really think there will ever be a real One Tree Hill reunion? Let me know what you're hoping for in the comment section below, and then click right on over here to see what the cast of the one, the only Mean Girls is up to these days. I'm your girl, Jocelyn Davis. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you later.